Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video.
What's up?
You didn't let me talk.
No, mate.
We're back with another reaction. He's not been here for like 8 days? He snaked me, man.
I'm not counting.
We had a plan and now he's not free on Sundays, so...
You're not free on Sundays.
I am. Oh no.
You said you're not free on Sundays no more. You want to do it in a week.
No, I am. I made my girlfriend change her work days for you.
You're lying.
I know you're not free for me. So, I mean, we're going to still do the reactions, but it's not going to be on Sundays, so it means nothing to you. But we're going to get into this. This is one of those videos that I saw, probably one of my first reactions to this type of content. And it's quite interesting to see. I mean, could the US military conquer the UK? I think what it means is, could it invade us?
I probably think anyone could.
No,
at
but
this point.
No, but the UK is like quite a good army.
I don't even think it is that good anymore.
No, it's not as good as it was. Like, we were like the top dogs. Like,
I think the US could take us over easy.
No, but what I'm saying is like in general, because you're comparing us to the US, or like you're comparing us to China. In general, like the UK is like a
superpower.
No, I don't think we're superpower anymore. No, we're not. I think we've got. Well, no, I know this video. We've got a good military, but what usually happens anyway is they sort of join. So you got like it's NATO, I'm pretty sure, which I think the US is sort of the main people. They used to protect everyone else, but we also join together, in a sense, which is why the US military is so crazy. You're gonna see, but yeah, we're gonna jump into this. Hopefully, going to enjoy. You're not gonna know about this. Links are in the description to my new channel.
What? My new channel?
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Did you actually not?
No.
So there's gonna be like different bits of content or like videos in there.
Fair down.
We could actually do like, we could do like random stuff. You know the other one that we wanted to do before? They won't know. But yeah, links are there. You can probably see them there in future maybe if I get onto that, because I've not really posted anything yet, but it's a thing for the future. Save my Patreon, links are there, but we're gonna jump into this and yeah.
We all know US and UK are close allies, and that US armed might is far greater.
This guy's like Russian. He's got a proper fucking military voice. It's quite
Proper
scary.
than that of the UK. But just for argument's sake, and to learn what sort of limitations waging warfare across the ocean implies, this video will explore US invading the United Kingdom. So, with just the airplanes and ships left to count on, is an invasion over the Atlantic viable?
Did you know that was the Atlantic Ocean? Did you?
Yeah, obviously.
Did you?
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, come
Check
on.
you out. I didn't actually know you would know that.
Obviously.
пожаловать в штаб-квартире Бинков. Welcome to...
Getting his money. He's getting his money now. You're
Get
happy
his
for
money,
him?
get that moolah.
Yeah. Bro, if I could do sponsors, but I tried doing them before, I can't. I can't just lie and pretend I like the product. I'm just like, I can't do this.
If it
You
wanted
lie all
to.
the time.
Some rules will apply. US gets no invade UK if it wanted to. Some rules will apply. US gets no overseas bases, and all other countries are impassable. Distance from US to
guy's
UK
voice scares
mainland
me.
is pretty
It is
big,
like brutal, man.
especially when
Intense.
reaching London.
Business.
Before trying to land any troops, the seas must first be clear of British ships, and Royal Air Force must be suppressed. US has a massive advantage when it comes to navy.
So you're not going to know what these are, but these are like different types of boats and stuff. And you just, again, you don't really know what it does, but it's just a lot more. They've got all this stuff that we don't even have, and then we've just got...
naval assets. Basically, all of its assets are made for oceans and could operate near UK if needed. While the Americans would need to sail to and from Britain, taking weeks away from their actual presence, US Navy could pretty much do whatever it pleases near the UK. It's interesting to point out that most of US ships do not carry anti-ship missiles. US Navy prefers to use their carriers for such missions. British
Okay, there's going to be a lot of pause because I want to show you what these things are like. So these are aircraft carriers. They're fucking crazy.
Yeah, they're madness.
So I think the UK only has one. Like the US has more than I think all the countries
Yeah, I
combined.
think they do, yeah.
It's like this. Like this doesn't do it justice how crazy it is. But you think how big jets are.
I know.
It's
It's
like,
crazy. And like underneath as well, like
Yeah.
in the actual ship itself.
I saw like a video related to it. We could probably do it in future.
Yeah.
And it's like a whole like mini city.
It's
in
a mini
sense.
airport
Yeah.
on the sea.
But that's crazy because they can sort of like stay there, stationed, and then.
And then they land, they just hover down, don't they?
Have you seen how it does?
Yeah,
They like sort of catch it with like a rope.
Yeah.
Like a
what?
cable, not a rope, like a cable. Like it's
Really?
going really quick, and the cable just catches it. It's mental.
Wow.
But
Royal
yeah, we'll see
Navy
that in
is to
future,
go down a similar route. Their Harpoon missiles are old and set to be retired soon. Not all ships have them. Only a minor part of the British fleet has modern air defense systems. Basically, The sea war would be fought above the sea and under it, but the British lacked anti-ship missiles for its aircraft. Furthermore, British Tornado aircraft ceased to train for the anti-ship missions almost 2 decades ago. Basically, if UK had to try and do air raids against US fleet, it would be down to 2 weapons: laser-guided bombs and short-range tactical missiles. Brimstone in particular might be the weapon of choice. While its warhead is tiny, Brimstone 2 has a decent range. Still, against dozens of potent destroyers designed to deal with many anti-ship missiles at once, it's unlikely UK could do much. British best bet would be their submarines. They're fairly modern. Theoretically, the British could use their ballistic missile subs as attack subs as well, and speed up the entry into service of another astute sub, while keeping one Trafalgar running a...
Again, you're not going to know what these are, and neither do I, but they're just different types. And you see the numbers.
The numbers.
So this is like this basically means it's a lot more modern. These are older. 290s, 1 2010, and there's 3. You got 16 of this one, which is 2010s and 2000s. Then you got all of these ones as well. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
bit longer,
They're protected.
damaging for retired
68
sailors
to 11.
to crew it.
But in this case, they're not protecting; they're fighting against us.
Well,
but
yeah.
in general,
Yeah.
protect.
Still, the British would be far outnumbered. US submarine fleet dwarfs theirs. Given a bit less time on station and British home advantage when it comes to resupply, the balance of power may not be quite 6-1. Still, it's no question the British subs would get hunted down within months. Aerial
And
anti...
he said we're good with submarines. He said we're good, like this is we're good here, and it just shows this is our way to sort of protect ourselves. And it's like, yeah, there's 68 of them coming.
Submarine platforms would also play a large role. And while the British could use all their assets, even just the deployable
60 to
portion of
41.
US assets would be enough to force the British subs into hiding. Furthermore, US carrier-based air power would make it hard for British anti-sub helicopters to operate. The main force projection would be done by US carriers, naturally. US could choose whether to use more carriers initially and then have less available later on, or to maintain a smaller number on constant patrol.
They could literally carry more on their carriers
Then we've got.
than we've got in the country.
To feed the British Air Force, the former is more likely. US nominally has 11 carriers, but only 9 air wings. It does have an
And
additional
all of our
support
air
wing.
bases are US anyway, aren't they?
I'm pretty sure there's some in Norfolk, isn't there?
Yeah.
I think I saw it was like a meme of like an American saying, "Oh my god, I'm going to Europe," and it was like Ipswich. You think I'm going to Paris? I'm going to just all these nice places, and it's flipping Ipswich. But yeah, I think you are right. to be
Which
fair.
is a
Well,
lot bigger.
all the aircraft that we own, I think, are US made anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even fucking know that. How do you know this random stuff? Do you just
I
sort of...
read the news, mate.
Hopefully you're right.
It may be the source of 1 or 2 more combat wings after some months of preparation. But crews aren't the only issue. Lifespan of a carrier necessarily involves lengthy maintenance periods. Important to note is that the deployable period doesn't mean the carrier can actually be on a mission the whole time. Usually 1 or 2 deployments are made during those 18 months. Missions are usually 6 to 8 months long, and several months are needed to prep the carrier and its wing for another mission. Shorter missions might give more deployments in the short term, but in the long term they would require even more maintenance for every month spent out at sea. Because of all that, it's unrealistic US would send out more than 6 carriers at once, after a few months
Still,
of prep time.
Probably enough
Similar
to
issues
have
would
more
affect
than us.
the aviation assault ships. Perhaps 4 to 6 could be deployed at once, after some preparations. Grand total of combat planes US Navy and Marine Corps could muster in a few months long air campaign is thus smaller than the total number of US planes. US might fly in fresh planes to replace ones that got
Yeah, someone called the door at the wrong time. We're back into it
might
though.
fly in fresh planes to replace
So yeah, these are like fighter planes pretty much. Okay, I'm not going to know which ones these are, but you just see the numbers. It's 119, 24, 30 40, 60 to 72. To be fair, we've got quite a lot.
I mean, we
Sev-
see
plus-
flying around all the time
Yeah,
where
it's
we
true.
are as well, don't we?
It says plus several stored, so that's actually quite a good side of us, to be fair.
Yeah.
But 180 plus 30 stored to 1,000 active plus 340 stores.
Yeah, you're going to stand
these
a
ones
chance.
that got lost. Flying them over the ocean to a carrier would be doable. What could the British respond with? Royal Air Force is smaller than even the readily
Air
available US
Force is
planes
known to be quite
deployed on
good.
carriers.
Yeah.
Another huge issue for the British would be their lack of air defenses. Everything they currently have are fairly low altitude systems, meaning the US would be free to bomb them from high up with guided weapons. UK would also suffer the US cruise missile barrage. While the Brits have some such missiles of their own, it's unlikely they would be used against the faraway US bases. Even the subs that could carry them would be better utilized for defense of the homeland. While not all could be launched at once, US could sustain the effort. The British Air Force would be mostly paralyzed on the ground. US has also a much bigger recon platform fleet, especially when it comes to satellites. British lack those,
So we've got all these, and we've got a few working small prototypes. So we've not even got one properly.
as in the real world, they
We're so
timeshare
far
some
behind,
US spy
aren't we?
satellites.
But I think it is because we sort of do rely on
Well,
actually the US to sort of help us.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have our own to a certain degree, and we are still quite a good army in terms of the general sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the US is like, they
look after us.
yeah. And I feel like we care for them a bit, but like we just sort of there just to sort of boost them if they need.
Yeah.
They don't actually need us, but
US aircraft would be looking for targets as well. Britain would have no real means of scouting the US bases. US AWACS type planes would be plentiful, while British ones would mostly be trapped on the ground, with runways and highways being mostly inoperative. Thus the Royal Air Force would slowly get destroyed on the ground. When they would be able to get some planes airborne, they still may not choose to engage the Americans, as it's likely US attack waves would be made of close to 100 planes with possibly as many fighters as Britain would muster per each local interception, or more.
with today's technology
The
as
best-
well, imagine how fucking scary that
I
would be.
know.
It's good because it is such a theoretical thing.
Britain
still
could
interesting
hope
to
for
see.
would be
Yeah.
a roughly equal kill ratio in the air. And when the losses on the ground
You
are
gonna say something?
No.
No.
included over months of a
I thought you were gonna
protracted
say
bombing
something.
campaign, US would still be left with a sizable force. All this didn't even include the US Air Force. While the scenario requires it to use the bases inside the US, Britain
Bro, this plane is crazy. I'm
Yeah,
gonna-
I've actually seen a couple of them fly.
What?
Yeah.
Like for, like,
over
shows,
Norwich.
or
No,
just,
it's
like-
over Norwich. They were doing like training.
But the black ones.
Yeah.
What?
And it was mental. I was like,
Do you reckon that was the US, or do you reckon we've got? Maybe we have some.
I don't
think we
know,
do.
but I think I saw like 5 of them, or it was 1 or 2 of them flying with a couple of jets
Yeah.
surrounding it, sort of.
Do you like shit? Are we actually fucked?
No,
up?
it's just cool. Like seeing one of them.
How
is,
loud
like,
is it?
I'm pretty sure it's silent. I don't know.
Maybe it is actually because it shapes in a certain way that maybe it
I can't
cancels the
remember.
sound. I think you might be right. The B2 Spirit sound.
Yeah, stealth bomber. So
Spirity. Yeah, stealth. I guess, yeah, so you're right. It is. Okay, yeah, so you definitely saw it. Then. Fuck me. You must have been like, what the fuck? Was it quite low?
nah, it was well high.
Yeah.
But it's still like.
That'd be cool. to
Didn't
see.
think you'd see one of them in.
Yeah, because I see
Norfolk
these as
skies.
videos and stuff, and it's like, bro, this is wild.
Yeah.
Man.
could be reached. At first, bombers would be deploying cruise missiles, but later on, they would be likely used for bombing missions. But could the Air Force tactical plane fleet help out as well? With very ample in-flight refueling, the answer is yes. US operates the world's biggest air tanker fleet. The Hercules-based tankers, however, are too small and would use most of the fuel just to get
So
near
they fuel the
Britain.
planes whilst they're
Still,
flying.
Yeah.
the remainder of the
Yeah, I've
fleet
seen it
is
happen. Like the
substantial
hose
fuel
just connects on top of them.
How do you see? Oh, on videos.
Just videos and stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you saw this in person.
I'm like a proper nerd, mate.
offload capacity, and tankers could refuel each other. Such ops may sound complex, but compared to what the British did in Falklands War, they're fairly basic. The British used a dozen tankers to refuel themselves repeatedly, keeping the bomber refueled throughout all of the route. While all of the tanker fleet would not be available due to maintenance, the rest could still offload significant fuel loads just outside Britain if needed. With several refuelings per plane, US Air Force could still expect to have around 400 combat planes in action practically every day. The British would really have no chance in the air. Within months, the US would have complete control of the air.
Per day they'll have this, and this is what we've got. Per day they have 700 fighters and 100 bombers. That's ridiculous.
and thus the second phase of the invasion might commence. By that time, British ships would be mostly dead, even if they hugged the shores and just aided in the air defenses. British submarines might hold out a bit longer, if not being used to actively hunt down US ships. But even if British subs managed to kill 2 US vessels for each of their own, final result would be the end of the Royal Navy. So at around 6 months or so into the war, the landings would be mostly unopposed, except for the Royal Army defending the shores. 6 months would be enough for US to assemble pretty much all of their active and reserve assets. In addition to landing ships, US could count on numerous cargo assets of its Sea Lift Command and Reserve Fleet in case a port is secured. US Airborne could also help, with the numbers shown probably growing with newly trained paratroopers. Getting additional heavier equipment for them, however, would not be likely, given the time limit. US transport plane fleet is pretty big, and should be able to drop all the airborne troops within days. US could be looking at close to 30,000 troops during the first day, and close to 20,000 more the day after. Subsequent days would see fewer and fewer troops being added, and more supplies being brought in. The British would enjoy more soldiers than shown before. The reserve mentioned covers only the soldiers receiving some training periodically, and soldiers for whom some heavy equipment is stored. In an event of a total war, Britain would be using those 6 months to mobilize as many soldiers as
People like me and you.
Yeah, the young bucks.
I would hate that. I'd actually hate that so much. Imagine like you're. It is like being forced, isn't it? Because like, the whole thing was like you're a coward if you didn't go in the World War.
Basically, yeah.
Like your country needs you and stuff. Would you be a coward? I don't care about my country that much.
I don't really like my country.
I'm just going to move to Romania. I don't
the
care.
white flag.
it's possible. Well, they would be
I'll join the enemies.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
I always like to do more than
basically
that.
rifles, and while their training would be less than adequate, they would still boost the overall numbers several times. Yet, although soldiers may not be enough, as UK has a problem of geography. Its landmass is just too large.
Yeah, you got to protect from
Its
all
coastline
fronts.
is
It's pretty
very
hard,
long.
pretty fucked.
Even when taking just the western part of its coastline into account, the area to be defended
Plus,
is huge.
Scotland and Wales would probably want to go against us anyway. So just be like the England.
You're on your own.
England versus Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and flipping the US.
It's like repeating
What
about
about the
football,
islands?
repeating about everything
Perfect
else.
for US to take and entrench themselves at, before launching further landings from them. Most of
Wait,
those
the islands
areas
there?
are sufficiently
No.
far away from the mainland.
That's Isle of Man there, isn't
Yeah,
it?
so which is Isle of Wight? No, that's Isle of Wight.
Isle of Wight, no, Isle of Wight's here.
Isle of Wight
At the
here.
bottom.
There's Jersey and Guernsey like here.
I think that's Jersey and Guernsey.
Oh, there, Guernsey.
Okay.
What's this one then? Why is there a little dot here?
I think that's just like targeted things that they will
I
do.
know, but what is it?
And
don't
British
know,
artillery
maybe.
would not be much of a factor. And what about Northern Ireland? There are just too many places for US to concentrate its assault on. The British would not be able to move their forces around easily and protect those islands or the Northern Ireland. So the islands would fall one by one. Then either Northern Ireland would be taken or part of Great Britain would fall. Hard to traverse overland Scotland would be an obvious choice, though that would also slow down US breakthrough as well later on. Cornwall or Devon are also decent picks, as British defenders lack room to swoop down on the US beachhead from all directions, though such areas would likely be more heavily populated by British military to begin with. Once the US manages to secure ports and airfields and brings in US Army reinforcements, it would be basically game over for the British. US would build up its helicopter force on the areas it has taken, which is
So 609 to 66, 25 to 281, 1,781 to 24, and then 42. Total 203. So this is like transport utilities and
Yeah.
all this sort of stuff. And
3012.
that's like 15 times more. And then the total capacity of the troops. Oh
is
man.
considerable. While
We
the
fought.
British have a fleet of their own to help quickly distribute its forces where needed, their numbers
Nah, we're not fucked. When you got Thurston Peters on your side, mate.
Being a coward.
Go away.
Please.
are small. Both sides would of course be losing many helicopters, US to British low-level air defenses and British to US fighter cover, which would continuously be flying over the important areas. The British would have only a small part of shown inventory of heavy weapons present at any one point the US attacks. While US would also not be disembarking thousands of its Abrams tanks or 10,000 of other heavy combat vehicles, the overwhelming fire support coming from various directions would more than make up for it. Fire support
that
from
he
the
just
ships
shoots, like,
may come in
chops,
form
doesn't
of MLR
Just like the
units
shot
firing
range of
from
the
the
tower.
ships rather than actual gun barrage. US ships still lack long-range gun rounds. Attack helicopters are another way of concentrating force in one area quickly, but again the British are far outmatched, even if just half of US numbers are present. The issue for the Americans would be
Again, we don't know what ones they are, but they're attack helicopters. And
I know Apaches.
do you?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them.
You
fly
know more
around
about
as
this
well.
than me.
Well,
How
what
do you
can I
know? Do you
say?
just look and
Apaches are the big ones.
Yeah.
That like
Well, they got 792, and we
like
got
you hear
67.
them fly over, like they're loud.
Okay, so I probably just see them about when I'm.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they're cool looking, but you wouldn't want them shooting at you.
Yeah. To me, you want any of them shooting at your mate. But you've got armed drones. So these. Have you ever seen like a drone?
Drone.
Like that's like this.
Oh no, not one of the proper.
I guess they don't
like,
fly them around, do they? They
No.
only do it like in other countries and stuff.
Same with
US
films.
numbers are present.
Yeah.
The issue for
I
the
mean, yeah,
Americans
we'll know.
would be time. As the scenario asks what can be achieved within 1 year, US would be under pressure to progress from their multiple beachheads. Northern Ireland is likely to fall within the 1 year time limit, but only minor parts of the Great Britain would be overrun by the Americans during the same time period. The British would put up a hell of a fight. Ground troop loss ratio would favor the British somewhat, but when Air Force and Navy losses are added in, where Britain would suffer more heavily, the US would come out fine. With added large chunks of conquered territory, the US could call itself a victor. Big thanks goes to all my patrons
That's
on
it.
Patreon.
But I guess the good thing about this video is
It won't happen.
it won't happen. It won't happen because I feel like Canada, the US, Australia, the UK,
We're all mates.
and like I feel like countries like France, even though they're not necessarily English-speaking
They're
countries.
allies, aren't they?
Yeah. So I mean, we're boys, but still interesting to see. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's why I like YouTube because it's just you just see these random videos,
If something would happen,
Yeah.
what would happen?
and we know what would happen on our side. We're just leaving.
Yeah.
Fuck
Fuck
this,
this shit,
mate.
I'm out.
Why is it all the comment section's usually top comment? There we go. It's always weird to me when I see numbers for these countries' military assets in your videos. As an American, I can say Queen Elizabeth could single-handedly defeat up because she never dies.
A lizard.
I think people are pissed off in the comments. Now they feel the Queen is so. Yeah, she is powerful, isn't she? I don't like the Queen,
Don't either.
but she's the Queen of Wait, she's the Queen of Australia, New Zealand, and Canada.
Yeah.
I know they still had her on the Canadian dollars, and then you got Fiji, you got Canada, India, then you got Fiji, a little fucking country.
You got.
Did you see? I know this has nothing to do with it, but did you see the Tonga volcano?
Yeah, madness.
I might do a reaction to that.
Pretty
Would you
sure.
want to do that?
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, maybe do that then. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you want more of these types of videos with my brother, he seems to know more than me. So
What
I
can
mean,
I say?
so I mean, we could do more. And I've been doing a few of my own recently, and I've been enjoying them. People have been liking my reactions. So maybe I can show them some things. Let me know in the comments what you want to see. But yeah, until next time.
Peace.